Hello there, and welcome to the finale of building an Imperial base. We started this project all the way back in January, so it's been about 4 months of planning, building, collecting parts, getting more minifigures, and just having a ton of fun making the videos for this series. And now we're finally complete and we're ready to share this with you. I'm super excited, so let's get into it. All right, here is your guys' first look at the finished mock. Since the last update, I put about 70 minifigures in total on this thing, and it's really brought everything together in some really cool ways. Now, before we get into a full walkthrough and review of everything, I just want to talk about some of the inspiration and where this slots in timeline-wise. So basically, it's just after Return of the Jedi. Death Star 2 has exploded, and the rebellion has sort of assumed some control in the galaxy, but there is still some Imperial troops sort of scattered across the galaxy. And on top of that, our friend Han Solo has actually managed to get himself captured by this specific faction of Imperial troops. So this is essentially a rescue mission to get Han back, and that's kind of the starting point for the story. Now, I am going to be doing this finale a little bit differently in that we're going to be showcasing off 3 separate phases of this battle scene. And it's essentially going to be a beginning, middle, and end that'll hopefully really shape up a nice, fun, entertaining story for you guys to follow along with. So make sure you stick to the end of the video so you can see for yourself who wins this battle between the Galactic Empire and the Rebel Alliance. Okay, that was a look at the mock at a glance, and now we can go through and discuss some of the Easter eggs and important details before we move on to phase 2. So first of all, we've got the bulk of the rebel troopers just hiding in the woods before the battle starts here. And on camera, it's sort of hard to pick up, but there's actually over 30 rebel troopers dispersed among the woods here. And so it's a pretty good indication of how much foliage we've put on this mock, but they're all kind of hiding before the battle starts. And then this unfortunate scout trooper here is about to get clotheslined by this rope that they set up. So that is just going to be the spearhead of the battle, I guess. Now, if we take a look back behind this pond, we've actually got this creepy little cave off to the side, which has something lurking in it that this rebel trooper probably doesn't want to find out what it is, but we'll check in on him in later phases. Now, as we move up through the battle here, as you can see, there's lots of rebel troopers just sort of waiting for the battle to start, and they're signaling some of their guys over on the other side. And in classic Leia fashion, we've actually got her and Chewie just storming up and already engaging some of the Imperial forces. Moving on past those 2 unlucky stormtroopers, everyone else is pretty much just going about their daily business, having conversations and, going about their patrols. Except these 2 guys have actually seen what's gone on and they're getting ready to engage. So this one's pointing at Leia, and this guy's getting ready to shoot some mortars. But we've also got just a bunch of troopers just sort of going about their daily business here, having some conversations and loading up their machinery. One of my favorite parts of this whole build has got to be this area back here, and funnily enough, it's actually what we started with on day 1 of building. We started on the rock wall, and I was putting down this water, and the idea is that the base runs on some sort of hydropower, so that's the water coming out of the base there. But it's just such a nice detailed area, and just having a couple figs here really brings it to life. Moving on to the base itself, there's a few details that I really want to point out to you guys because I enjoy the look of them. First of all is the sideways building technique in this corridor. It's just a nice slick look. There's no stud showing. And then of course all the greeble on the roof. I feel like it was very deliberate and not too messy. And that's what I was going for. So we've got some HVAC systems, a couple energy cells, and a turbo laser, which has some functionality. So that's very cool. Moving to the back of the base here, we've got a speeder bay, which is nicely lit up. We've got a couple stormtroopers working away. moving some boxes. We've also got 2 bays for speeders, and obviously one is out, about to get clotheslined by the rebel troopers, and then these guys are just loading up. And we've got a gonk droid there, and then this guy is actually going in a doorway which leads up to the base. Okay, I just went ahead and shut off the lights just so we could see in these interiors a little bit better. And if we go up through that doorway there, we move into the main part of the base, which is a control room, and then we've got this nice little hallway. So starting out with here, we've just got a few stormtroopers walking up the hallway, and we've got a weapon rack and some cornflakes and some binoculars there. So just your classic inside the base type of stuff. And then over here is where all the action's going on. So we've actually got Han Solo, who's, as I said before, been captured. He's been brought in by this officer at gunpoint. And then we've got a general and a few more officers talking to a hologram of some sort. So some nice details in there. This is the start of our storyline. So we'll see what happens with Han in phase 2. Now in phase 2, a lot of the battle has started to unravel, and there's just a ton of stuff to talk about, especially with the front lines here. But we're going to start back here first. First of all, talking about the rebel troopers that had previously been hiding have all vacated their hiding spots, and they're mobilized, moving towards the base to get to the battle. And then as you can see there, that scout trooper did end up getting clothesline there, and then his speeder spun out and crashed here. So that is a look at the crash landing. Checking in with our curious rebel trooper, it looks like he got a bit too curious, and he's actually currently being dragged in by whatever lives in that cave, and you can see his helmet's there as well. So unfortunately, he has met his demise. So this guy is currently getting force pushed by Luke Skywalker there, but he had just shot off a mortar shot, and a previous one had just touched down and hit here. So these two guys have unfortunately perished, and we just got a little explosion happening there, some down trees and stuff. But it's only 2 of them. A lot of the forces did make it through, and as you can see, Leia and Chewie have made it into the speeder bay here. And as you can see, they have been putting in work here in the speeder bay. They've already taken out 3 of the 7 troopers that are kind of posted up in here, and they have a ton of reinforcements at their back, so it looks like they're going to overrun and overwhelm these Imperial forces in here. Now, the most notable part of this phase has got to be the flying TIE bomber. So one of the pilots decided to hop in the bomber, and he's taken off and making a getaway because it seems very clear they're being overrun as they were taken by surprise. But who knows, maybe in the next phase we'll see him do a little bombing pass there. So the guys that were initially just going about the patrols have all been taken out here. And then, of course, these guys were back here originally. They've moved up, and they're putting down some cover fire, but it doesn't really seem to be doing much. I mean, all their guys have been taken out, and Luke is up there leading the charge, but they do have a bit of reinforcements up here on the top. So all the Imperial forces are trying their best to get out and defend their base, but as you can see, some of them are pretty unlucky, like this AT-AT driver has been shot as he was trying to cross the pedway over to his machine, and he's falling off the railing there. So if we take a look inside the base, everything just seems a little bit more panicked as they were obviously being attacked. So we've got guys running towards doors, the gun racks are being depleted, and they've actually got Han down on his knees now with his hands up, and they're interrogating him with some blasters. So now that we've went through all the little details and stories behind this phase, it's time to move on to phase 3. So in phase 3, it is evident that the Imperials have been defeated by the Rebel force. And of course, they have all those plot armored characters in Leia, Luke, Han, and Chewie. But other than that, I'm just going to go through and finish up some of these storylines here, and then we'll wrap up this finale. So one story to wrap up is the fact that the TIE bomber did in fact make an escape, and in doing so, he dropped a bomb on the path here as they were running up. So 3 Rebel troopers unfortunately met their end there. And then going back to the little cave, as you can see, the guy's helmet is just there and he is completely vanished. So whatever is in the cave has taken him out for good. Now if we head up to the former front lines of the battle, we have just a bunch of carnage, lots of troopers from both sides laying dead. And then of course this guy decided to call her quits and he surrendered, dropped his weapon, and these guys are making an arrest. And then if we move up the path there, you can see there is a ton of stuff going on up here. Now, unfortunately for the Imperials, both AT-AT drivers weren't able to make it into the AT-AT. So the first one actually was the one that got shot and he fell off the railing. And then this one has decided to surrender and he's been given some handcuffs. And then if we take a look down this corridor, it's where Luke would have entered the base. So he took out an Imperial officer there, and there's a scout trooper that's laying there dead as well. If we take a look on the landing pad, I like the scene I was able to create with the Rebel fleet troopers just sort of conversing, and we've got some prisoners of war just sitting there in the middle, kind of waiting for their atonement. If we take a look down in the speeder bay, the same type of stuff's going on. Just basically anyone who wasn't killed in the battle is being rounded up and taken into custody. And finally making our way back into the base once again, you can see, first of all, in this hallway, we've got a Rebel trooper just sort of making his way into the base, trying to clear out any guys that haven't surrendered yet. And then everyone in the control room has decided to call her quits. They have their hands up and they're getting arrested. And you can see we have a nice little embracing moment between Leia and Han. And then we've also got Chewie running at him, and then Luke Skywalker is kind of just walking in and making sure everything's secure. So on that note, that's going to wrap up our Imperial mock building series. It's been an incredibly fun journey. 4 months worth of work wrapping up in one day. It's really exciting, and I just can't wait to share this finale with you guys. Now, lastly, I just want to thank everyone who followed along with the series, liked the videos, commented, gave us feedback. It goes a long way in motivating me in making these mocks as good as I possibly can get them when I know, there's some accountability of people caring about the project. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that. And lastly, I just maybe urge you to subscribe if you haven't, because I have a lot more mock projects lined up, and I'm going to be going back to the Clone Wars with our next one. So once I get this taken apart, we can get into our next series. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a good one, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.